Hi there, this is Malay and welcome to my channel. In today's video, let us understand how do we use forms for a user in the Power Automate desktop. Let's get started. Let us say that you would like to ask the first name, last name, date of birth, address and the email address from a user. Now if you will use, let's just say, input dialog method, you will have to prompt the user multiple times. So there would be a multiple prompt and you can then store a value individually into the individual variables. Now that would not be a good user experience. What if we can create a form where a user can provide all the input in the form itself? That certainly would be a better user experience. So let's design a form. With this, you can say custom form. So display a custom form. Let's drag that. You will see it gives us a capability to design the custom form as a part of the custom form designer. The data is going to be stored in the custom form data. We will be asking for the contact details. So I will first renaming this. Instead of calling it as a custom form data, I will call it as the contact data. Let's launch the custom form designer. You can see there are different input available that you can use. The text input, number input, date, time, toggle, choice, file also. And you can put instructions also as a part of the text block. You can also upload the image. And then finally, you also have a submit button that helps user to click and submit the data. And you can also open a URL. So first, let's ask the first name, drag and drop text input. ID, let's call it as the txt first name. Default value, if you want, you can set that. We'll leave it blank. There are different options available. If you have multi-line text box, you can go for it. We will enable this in the address text, not here. You can go for a maximum length if you want. You can also mark it as required. So I'll do required because we need the first name and last name. So please provide first name. If you have an email and if you would like to validate the email with the pattern, you can use the regular expression to validate the text input. For now, this is good. So let's drag another text input. Let's call it txt last name. You can also go for different style. If it's a text, telephone, URL or an email, you can go for that. Let's go for the text as usual. We have the last name. Let's mark that also as required, and the error message would be please provide last name. Okay, then we're going to be asking for a mobile number or the phone number. So let's go for the number input this time, and the number input is txt phone number. Now this is a phone number, but in case if you have another number field, you can also go for a minimum value or the maximum value. You can set that. Okay, let's keep this optional. Then let's go for a date of birth as a date input. Again, it's going to be dt birth date. Default value, let's keep it blank. You can also go for a minimum value and the maximum value in the date as well. And required, let's keep it optional. Then let's go for a choice set of input. In the choice, let's go for a compact or expanded. So when it's compact, you can see the preview of the form. You can also see the preview of the form. So if it's a compact style, it shows you drop down. If you go expanded, you actually see the radio buttons. So let's go for an expanded option. Here you will call it as the choice ch and then gender. Okay, so the choices are male, so the value is also male, and the new choice, let's say female as well. Okay, and you can see the preview in the preview form. That is how it's going to look like. Okay, well, we also forgot to actually, you can see in the preview we don't see any value here. So what user would actually need to enter. So here we need to set the label. So let's set the label. You can see it has started populating. Because it's a required field, it is also showing the required indicator. So that's the first name, that is the last name. Then we also have the phone number, then it's going to be birth date, and it's going to be the gender. Then let's go ahead and ask the address. So it's going to be txt address. Let's make it multi-line. Max length, if you want, let's keep it as 200. That's going to be the maximum length. Height is auto. You can also go for a stretch. Scroll down to view how it's gonna appear. Keep it auto. Let's not keep it required. And finally, let us ask the email address as well. So let's scroll up. It's going to be txt email. Here it's going to be email, and then let's put the required here, and please provide email address, and let's put the regular expression validation for an email. It's going to be this is the regular expression for an email address. Okay, so we are good to go. I think we forgot to put the label in the address. Let's go and address that. So addressed. And then finally, let's click on submit button. It's going to be button submit. Instead of OK, let's call it as the submit. Ignore provided inputs. No, we do not want to ignore the provided inputs. And we should be good to go. Let's click on done. And let's click on save. So now let's run and check our form. So click run. It will display the form experience for the user. There we have it. You can also maximize it, minimize it, or you can stretch that. So let us provide the first name. Let's say I'm going to say Michael or Shell. The phone number, I'm just going to go with some random number. The date of birth, it's going to be 2000. Mail address is sample address, and then let's skip email, right? And let's click on submit. You will see, please provide the email address. Testmailaddress.com. Okay, we know it is incorrect. Click on submit, and you still see it is not accepting. Okay, because that is an incorrect email address. So instead of this, you may call it out as please provide the valid email address. That is more indicative. So for here, let's go and rectify this at, let's say, gmail.com, which is now the correct email address. Format and click on submit, and we have the form data populated. Now it's time to see how do we actually retrieve the data from the form. So let's go and show that. With this, we'll use message box. Let's go and display a message. Let's say the form response, and here first name, let us display the first name. Use a variable. Let's use get the contact data rather dot first name. That was the name of the control. Then let's go for, let's say, last name, and the control was the last name. Then let's say gender, and that was CN gender. So let's copy this, put it here. Let's just see CN gender, and let's print out the address. Let's just copy this, put it over here. Instead of this, it was address. Message box button, okay, cancel, yes, no, just keep okay. Message box icon, let's put it as an information. Well, actually there is a slight change. It is txt, it is txt last name CN, and this was also the txt address. Instead of CN, it was CH. Right, click on save, hit run. Real quick, again we'll fill that up. Michael Shell, phone number, birth date, mail, sample address, sample email at hotmail.com. Click on submit, and you see that we are able to retrieve the first name, last name, gender, and the address. So that is how you can provide the form user experience that makes it easy for user to fill different information, and then you can retrieve those information as a part of the variable dot property, the name of the control, and use it the way you want in your requirement. I thank you so much for watching the video.